Hey, New Hope, when we started thinking through this church camp series and we started thinking about all the different locations we could film, this week and this idea was the easiest of all of them to film and to really come to this conclusion. We needed to be here at the Gorge Overlook, one of the most beautiful places in our entire region. So here's the thing, if you are really engaged in the series, or if you've ever been camping and you can kind of push through, you can push through your ulterior motives, you can push through those days where you want to go home, and you really lean into the adventure, no matter how much fun it is or how challenging it is or even how painful it is, and you can do all those things, this powerful thing starts to happen. You get this overwhelming sense that God is real and that God is absolutely everywhere. In the Old Testament, King Solomon, who's this incredible king who kind of goes astray, but he builds the most spectacular temple in honor of God. And after his temple is complete in 1 Kings chapter 8, we see that he prays this prayer of dedication. And I want you to hear just a few words that he shares as part of this prayer. In 1 Kings 8:27, he asks, "But will God really live on the earth?" I mean, the idea here is that we've built this house for God, we've finished this amazing temple, but is God really going to live here? Is that even possible? And then here, the retort, the response, the answer in the prayer. "Why, even the highest heavens cannot contain you, God. How much less this temple I have built." So even though for them the idea was that God's home, the place he resided, was the temple, Solomon, even in his prayer of dedication for this temple as it's brand new, is saying, no temple can hold God. No place can contain God, even though that was really the paradigm in which they lived. And when we're talking about this idea that God is everywhere, a lot of times what we do is we look to the New Testament and we talk about Jesus' death and the temple and the curtain being torn from top to bottom, and really this picture that God is no longer contained not just in a temple, he's no longer contained in the Holy of Holies, he's unleashed into all the world. I heard a rabbi recently say that if a Jewish person was reading that text, the image that would come to their mind is this picture of a father who had experienced great loss. And what would a Jew do? He would first go into mourning, and then he would tear his clothes from top to bottom. And so the picture here is that God is filled with sorrow and grief at the sacrifice that had to be given from his son in order to accomplish his work and in order to unleash it into all the world. So when this temple curtain is torn, we have this picture that no Holy of Holies can hold God, no church can hold God, no community even can hold God. Because here's the interesting thing, and I think this is unique sometimes, where people leave a church service or a specific church and they make this comment. They say, God was there. Kind of like God was there, as opposed to last week maybe he wasn't, or the other church they visited a month ago, he wasn't there. But this place, we finally found a place where God is. And the humorous thing about that is this: God is everywhere. The only thing that usually makes the distinction is whether or not we're open to him, and whether or not you and I are looking for him. So let me encourage you. I want us to, as we sing today and as we spend some time here during this church camp series today, I want to encourage you to spend some time today, to spend some time this week, maybe even get out to some places like this, and take a step back and discover the God who is here, the God who is there, and the God who is everywhere. And so, Father, today I thank you so much in Jesus' name that in places like this, we can see you everywhere. In our church services at New Hope, we know that you're there. And God, at every other church service in our community and in our region, in our country, and around the world, I believe you are there. God, out in our community today, you are there. And so God, help us to not only see you everywhere, but help us to bring you and to share you everywhere we go and with everyone we encounter. In Jesus' name, amen.